All right, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. Going to do a 3x pitch biometrics here of Gene coming out of leg lift. We can see Gene sitting a little bit into the quads, starting to shift into the quads. We want to sit back in the glutes. That'll help keep the trunk back and not go to what's called ipsilateral. You can see coming out of leg lift, not a lot of momentum, and already at this position, before the ankle to knee, the force vector gets linear, we can see front side is opening, everything's starting rotating. So we're starting to rotate pretty early, and that's what happens when you load into your quads instead of your glutes. You're putting your knee in a position to collapse or to turn inward, and then on top of that, the front foot is opening, the front leg is starting to open. So you can see throwing is beginning really quickly, and that's going to take away from building all that momentum, all that power down the mound. That's why sitting back in the glutes here and will allow you to ride the hips, ride down the mound longer before you open and rotate. So to counter that, you've still got a slight ipsilateral lean and your trunk starting to open, and you throw your arm back to create the separation. So get the drawing tool here real quick. You know, the body knows if it can pull the arm away from the back hip where the force is coming from, then it can create that catapult effect. Problem is, we want to do that with the shoulder and not the arm. You're doing it with the arm, which puts the arm or the elbow way behind the back and gets it in that what's called a hyperangulated position. Okay, so now we're in an arm drag position. Now, this movement got a little over-exaggerated, which typically can do if just because with the sensors, we don't have a shoulder sensor. I'm not using a shoulder sensor, so it makes it a little bit more exaggerated. But you see how the elbow is behind the back like that? That's really, really hard on the front of the shoulder, even the back of the shoulder, to compromise the shoulder integrity. And I know you've had some issues with that. So that's where that's coming from. We have to learn to delay rotation, and when the hips do rotate, the trunk stays separated. Because right now, if we look at hip line, shoulder line, you can see that it's not that far separated. You know, you can see pretty close together. We would want the hips open here and the shoulders still back and closed, and you can see pretty much following each other, not much separation. So the arm is trying to be the separator, and that puts us in a real tough position to keep the arm healthy. So shifting to the quads, collapsing early, rotating early, dragging the arm to create the separation, it's really hard on you. And you can see all the way to pitch release, you're constantly keeping the arm behind your back, because the trunk line is here. Even at pitch release, it's behind your back. That's really, really, really hard on your arm. And you can see how short your stride is, how vertical your front leg is because when you opened up early, you landed in a short stride like a hitter, and now you're moving more like a hitter, more rotating than really transferring all that momentum into front foot, into pitch release. So it's really just trying to prevent rotation, sitting into the glutes, holding torsion, what we talk about when we work laterally, and then trying to power late and getting the leg to drive. You can see the leg is not really driving much at all. So getting the leg to drive late and then separating hips to shoulders. So keeping the trunk in a more contralateral position, not letting it lean over like this would help create more hip to shoulder separation. And then once we can do that, you're going to see a lot better trunk to pitch release movement because everything should be syncing up better.